Good afternoon, colleagues. Can I say how delighted I am to be here once again, chairing our Cabinet meeting. Welcome to our May Cabinet meeting here on Wednesday the 10th of May. I don't think we have any apologies today, do we? We'll move on to item number 2 on our agenda, which are declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest today? Oh, okay, thank you very much for that. Item number 3 are the minutes from our April meeting, and these are on pages 3 to 10 of your packs. Obviously, all colleagues have had an opportunity to go through these minutes. Are colleagues content to confirm these are a true record of our meeting? Yeah, everyone happy with that? Thank you. We'll move then to the first substantive item on our agenda today, which is the Shared Prosperity Fund. And the report on this particular item can be found on pages 11 to 26 of your packs. As you'll be aware, in April 2022, the UK government published details of the new £2.6 billion Shared Prosperity Fund, which seeks to support the government's levelling up objectives, but does not match levels of previous EU funding. These objectives aim to boost productivity, pay, jobs and living standards by growing the private sector, especially in places where they're lagging, to spread opportunities and improve public services, especially in places where they are weakest. Restore a sense of community and empower local leaders. In order to achieve this, the Shared Prosperity Fund has 3 investment priorities, namely communities in place, supporting local business, and people and skills. Now, there is also a fund called Multiply, which focuses on improving adult numeracy skills. The Shared Prosperity funding has been allocated to places across the UK on a needs basis, and the 10 local authorities over the Cardiff Capital Region have received a combined allocation of over £230 million and just over £48 million for Multiply. Now, in terms of Newport's allocation, we've been allocated just over £27 million for core spend and a further £5.6 million for Multiply for the period April 22 until the end of March 2025. Now, in order to draw down the funding, all local authorities within the Cardiff Capital Region were required to develop one regional investment plan covering the whole region. At a meeting in July 2022, Cabinet colleagues will recall that we agreed to endorse the submission of the regional investment plan by the lead authority. Now, despite this decision being taken in July last year, there has been significant delay from UK government in the approval of the regional investment plans and the completion of formal agreements which confirm relevant governance arrangements. I am pleased to report that these have now been resolved, but, colleagues, the consequence of this is that we've lost some 10 months of delivery from year 1 of the programme, which is not to say that there hasn't been any SPF spend in 2022-23, and you'll see as the report notes that nearly £700,000 is being claimed for year 1 for a number of projects, and Cabinet will be asked to endorse this spend. Whilst you will note that this spend is below the total year 1 allocation, in recognition of the significant delays experienced to date, UK government have confirmed that underspend will be carried over into year 2, which I'm sure we'll all agree is a positive decision there. To manage the change to the spend profile set out in the regional plan, the lead authority must submit a credible plan which demonstrates how the rolled over funding will be spent in the current financial year. And, colleagues, further details of this are contained within the report. A significant amount of work has gone into putting into place the robust internal governance arrangements in order to ensure that we manage and monitor the fund in an appropriate way. Given the need to proceed at pace with the delivery of the local investment plan, Cabinet being asked to agree a range of delegated functions to specific officers and the creation of an internal board which comprises relevant senior officers from across the Council. Agreement relating to specific projects will be undertaken in consultation with myself as the Cabinet Member for Economic Growth and Strategic Investment, and respective Cabinet members will be kept up to date through briefings with relevant service area leads. Now, I'd like to draw your attention to the proposed local investment plan, which is in Appendix 1. As already mentioned, this comprises a list of projects under each priority which can deliver the objectives outlined by UK Government. SPF funding is mainly for revenue funding, with capital spend limited to a maximum of 44% of the total allocation. Newport's local investment plan currently doesn't propose more than a 40% spend on capital projects. Alongside a number of projects which will be delivered at the local level, the UK Government prospectus also encourages collaboration with external partners for both local and regional projects. The local investment plan includes projects which will be delivered by external partners and an allocation to projects which are delivered at a regional level. Now, this includes regional employability commissioning and business innovation, research and development growth, and tourism. Here in Newport, we've listened to the views of our residents and stakeholders and acknowledge that people want to see investment in our communities and places. The local investment plan proposes to invest in spaces such as Tredegar Park and the Monmouthshire and Brecon Canal. Support for our partners wanting to invest in improvements in some of our important sports facilities, including Rodney Parade and the Newport County Cricket Ground. Significant investment is also proposed in people and skills as we seek to support our young people, help our residents into employment, and upskill our existing workforce to ensure that our residents have access to good quality jobs and our businesses have access to a suitably skilled and resilient workforce. Supporting local business is a separate priority where we propose to expand and build upon the support offered by the City of Newport Business Development Grants. We also want to be able to support businesses with embedding circular economy principles, as well as bolstering the retrofit supply chains in order to position ourselves to deliver on our climate change commitments. Colleagues will note the significant outcomes which are expected to be derived from the various projects. As an example, we aim to see over 750 new trees planted, 66 new jobs in the arts, culture, heritage sector, 50 new businesses created, at least 400 existing businesses being supported, over 950 people supported into employment, and over 1,000 people supported in gaining qualifications, licenses and skills. These are incredible numbers, and this funding has the potential to make a significant difference to the places we live in, the resilience of our businesses, and the lives of our residents. There's also a number of funding pots which will empower local groups to host events and to expand their activities too. Now, so at this point, I think I'm just going to pause and open this item to comments. Would anybody like to comment? Deputy Leader.
Thank you, Leader. I believe this is excellent news that this funding is going to be invested in our city and specifically post a consultation with our residents to determine what they want and not what we perceive that they want. We promised to listen, and we have. Our wellbeing objectives prioritise the economy, wellbeing, jobs, education, sustainability, and it's great to see that we can now deliver on these with an investment in green spaces, local businesses and jobs. And it's great to see specific priorities which include an investment in our tourist industry and in making Newport a better place to live. I really have to say it's an exciting time to be a councillor and be part of this journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Deputy Leader, and you make such an important point there. This is about listening to what our residents want. Absolutely. Councillor Harvey.
Thanks, Leader. To echo my colleagues and your own comments, our local investment plan currently got 47 projects, not including the multiply. We've made 900 interventions with 900 people to get their maths grades up, which is a really important thing going through life, You can't do nothing without math. Whether you're going to the shop to buy something, you need it. So for those who were students that have missed out, we're mopping up and getting that back. And this is, as you said, what the residents have asked for, but it's everything from a pop-up park to a feasibility of where could we possibly put the Newport ship. So it covers so many different aspects. I more than welcome this. Communities alone, over 3 years, will be over £13 million invested. It's massive, and we are very grateful for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Harvey. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Leader. So as my colleagues have also stated, and yourself, it's really important that the decision of the fund is aligned to the Newport Local Investment Plan itself, and that this in itself, I guess, is informed by the views of our local residents and stakeholders. And I think that's really important. I think that is reflected in the variety of projects supported, and that it meets our corporate plan objectives by strengthening the social fabric of our communities in Newport. Something I know that is supported by the residents in the city, and this is something that I really think that they will welcome. The support given to local businesses is also really important, as highlighted by my colleagues. And in Newport, we listen to our communities and we empower them. I also note that the positive impact this will have on both age and disability in the city, as the SPF enables us to improve facilities and the environment in our city generally, supporting our well-being of future generations' principles. So this is about making our communities much stronger and more resilient, and I'm really happy to endorse the recommended options, as I'm sure most people in the city will be today.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Hughes. Any further contributions? Councillor Forsey.
Thank you, Leader. I join with my colleagues to welcome the Shared Prosperity Fund allocation. These are all great projects, and it just goes to show what Newport City Council can do given investment opportunities. The development of work on the Modern Brett Canal is something that I greatly appreciate, and I know many of the residents of Rogerstone will be absolutely delighted to see this work go ahead as well. Measures to improve the water supply, the biodiversity, disabled access and upgrading the visitor centre are all extremely warmly welcomed. It's hard to pick out the best projects here because there are so many which are extremely pleasing. The Tredegar Park development, I'm sure, is going to make a big difference to a park that lots of people in Newport like to use. The tourism also is particularly pleasing, as well as you mentioned, the cricket facilities. All of these projects are extremely pleasing to see, and I join with colleagues to welcome them, and just so pleased to see this development. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Forsey. Councillor Marshall?
Yeah, thank you, Leader. And just like colleagues mentioned about the positive report in front of us, and happy to obviously put it forward. It is a significant amount invested. John Watt was a really difficult year with the challenges, but showing, case in what we can do with the right investment, as my colleague has just alluded to. It brings things, to further green jobs. It basically boosts the number of jobs within the city, but also better those already in the city. So that would be good for the income of especially with the cost of living situation that we now face. And as you already said, Leader, 400 already existing businesses will benefit from this as well. The big focus was listening to residents, and that can be seen on page 25 with the list that we have on the annex. And I'm sure residents will see and notice the differences that it will bring to them as a city in coming years. Things like the Youth Academy, Tredegar Park, close to my home, and furthering our cultural offer as a city, things like the Newport Ship and tourism. And that's among others. Thank you.
Thank you very much for highlighting that, Councillor Marshall. Your comments are most welcome. Any further comments from colleagues there? No? Okay. So, Obviously, colleagues, the scale of the challenge and the need to deliver at pace really can't be underestimated here. And there may be potential ongoing revenue implications once the SPF funding ends, and it's important to note this. As we've already mentioned, the robust governance and administration arrangements are required to ensure that the fund is properly managed and monitored, and that any ongoing risks are identified and mitigated. Now, taking that into account, alternatively, I suppose we could decide that the scale of the challenge is too great and not agree to deliver any of the projects listed in the local investment plan. However, this would be a lost opportunity to invest in our local areas, our local communities and our local businesses. And so therefore, colleagues, on the basis of our discussions today and the information provided in the report, I'd like to propose that we endorse the recommendations. I will go through the detail of the recommendations because they are quite detailed, and I think it's important for the record that we go through them properly. So we are being asked, colleagues, to endorse the delivery to date in Year 1 of SPF solely relating to 22-23, to approve the proposed administrative and governance arrangements, to endorse the proposed Newport Local Investment Plan comprising a comprehensive range of SPF-funded projects for Years 2 and 3, noting expected outputs and outcomes for the city, and authorising the Head of Regeneration and Economic Development and the Head of Finance to claim the relevant funding from the lead authority. We're being asked to delegate authority to the internal SPF board, chaired by the Head of Regeneration and Economic Development, and in consultation with the Cabinet Member for Economic Growth and Strategic Investment, to agree specific projects under each of the 3 SPF priorities and multiply, and to recalibrate and realign as necessary in order to achieve outputs and outcomes against SPF interventions. We're also being asked to delegate authority to the Head of Law and Standards to prepare, complete and execute the required legal documentation to enable third-party suppliers or providers to be appointed for internal and externally commissioned projects and to provide grants to third-party applicants. Finally, we're being asked to authorise that the SPF board operate within the suggested financial framework in order to manage the financial risk associated with the SPF programme. So, colleagues, is somebody happy to move that? Is everybody in support of that? And thank you very much, colleagues, for your support with that. We've endorsed the recommendations and agreed the report, and I'll just ask our officers to press on with the delivery of the proposed local investment plan without any further delay. So thank you all for your contributions to that. We move on to item number 5 on our agenda today, which I'm sure we're all delighted has come before us today. And this is the Pil-Gwenthly Master Plan, and the report for this is on pages 27 to 32 of your packs, and I hope you've all had an opportunity to access the plan itself and have a good look at the plan, and the link for which is in the pack. Now, I just want to give you some context or the background to this piece of work. So One Newport, our partnership, with the support of Welsh Government, commissioned an urban design and master planning organisation called the Urbanists to work with partners, businesses and the community to develop a challenging and aspirational master plan for Pil. And the catalyst for this really was the decision by the One Newport partners to implement some actions by way of a response to concerns that had been raised by Pil residents regarding a number of issues that had been occurred within the ward. As part of this process, a social enterprise called Mela Cymru were also involved, and they undertook an in-depth community engagement exercise within the area. Now, the plan focuses on a series of community ambitions, but also recognises the existing work that's underway within the area. Now, we're being asked as a Cabinet to approve the strategic intentions of the master plan developed following extensive engagement with Peel residents, businesses and partners. And during the course of this plan, and I'm delighted to have taken a role in chairing the steering committee for this, during the course of this, there was one strapline really that became our mantra as we were going through this, and I think it's really important that we emphasise this, and it's there in the title, in the report and the title of the plan, and that was that we focus on what's strong and celebrate the strengths of the community rather than having a focus on what's perceived to be wrong. So work began on the master plan in November 2021, and there's been a huge amount of community engagement with one-to-one interviews with key stakeholders, 14 engagement events, and over 2,500 people have been reached through social media and Peel Connects. And what's really important is that views have been gathered from a range of people from really diverse backgrounds. So the evidence base for developing this work is really strong. Analysis of the geographic space, retail and service provision, green space and community safety indicators aligned to the community and business feedback has allowed us to form 3 community ambitions. And these ambitions are formed around improved green and public spaces, better business and shopping offer and environment, and mix of youth and community facilities. Now, the report also recognises the work that's already underway, which has evolved over the period that the plan has been developed. And it includes Safer Peel, which has reprioritised work following the results of the community engagement and continues to be jointly led by Newport City Council and Gwent Police. And it also includes work to improve communications, tackle fly tipping and refuse, improve housing, provide better support and engagement for businesses, and improve the physical and green spaces. And work previously agreed by Cabinet will support this through our investment in our parks. Now, the master plan has been agreed by One Newport and now needs to be agreed and adopted by each of our partner organisations. And I think at this point, colleagues, what I need to reiterate is that we are agreeing to the strategic intentions of the master plan and to align our decision making to the aspirations of the community as detailed within the master plan. So I'd just like to go to back to that point about how seriously, as a cabinet and as a council, we take our residents and we take listening to our residents. And this is a commitment to align our decision making with those aspirations. So, we need to ensure so I just want to emphasise that point about aligning our decision-making to the aspirations of the community, because now we know what those aspirations are, and that's important. And we need to ensure that we continue to work together as partners to identify and attract external funding, which will help to support the delivery of projects identified within the master plan. I can't emphasise strongly enough, colleagues, that this is going to be a long-term commitment, and we need to ensure we continue to engage with the community as we develop our planning and achieve change. And crucial to this, absolutely crucial to this, will be making sure that we do not overpromise and underdeliver for our residents. So at this point, colleagues, I'm just going to pause and open for contributions from colleagues. Deputy Leader?
Thank you, Leader. I have to agree, this is vital work to improve Peel and make it a prosperous place in which to live. And it's great to see that community ambitions will be realised, with quality of life for both children and adults a key focus. And this clearly includes play, youth and community facilities, which are going to be prioritised, as well as jobs and opportunities being made available for local people. It is an aspirational project which we're determined to deliver on, but obviously there has to be some realism with that. But thank you, Leader. It's exciting again to be part of this journey. Thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you, Deputy Leader, for highlighting there. You know, this is a really exciting time for Newport. In spite of the challenges that we face, we are listening to our residents and we're taking every opportunity to deliver on what they'd like to see. So thank you very much for emphasising that. Councillor Harvey.
Thanks, Leader. I got to say, the terminology used, strong, not wrong, is a breath of fresh air. People are very, very quick to call Pill out. Oh my God, you don't want to go down there. It's this, it's that. People live in Pill. My family came from Pill. So for me, it's always been a vibrant place. It's always been a bit bonkers. But then Newport is bonkers, and that's all there is to it. And as I'm born and bred Newport, I can call it bonkers, I'm allowed. But this is such a wonderful idea for Pill. They've waited long enough, and I fully support and endorse this going forward, especially the strong. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Harvey. Councillor Hughes?
There you go. Thank you, Leader. So someone who's actually lived in Pill, I'm agreeing with my colleague there. It was one of the most exciting places I've actually ever lived in. From everything from the food to the music to the people to, I think you used the word vibrancy there as well. And that's exactly what it is, really. And I think, you know, there are huge challenges in Pill, but I think this really gives an opportunity for the people of Pill to empower themselves, really, to actually encourage Pill to reach its full potential. And I think that's what we're looking at, really. It's about helping people in our community reach their potential, and I think this is a great start to that journey, I think, for Pill. Great.
Thank you for that, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Leader. I wasn't going to speak, but you know, I feel that this is an opportunity, sort of maybe to look at it differently, and another view is that you know, even in these tough economic times, which again are no fault of our own here in Newport in Wales, I think you have to look more towards the UK government. Yet again, this Newport Labour Council are committed in moving not just Pill, but the knock-on effect to the city itself with this master plan. And when reading the document, you know, I saw about the community engagement was at the absolute forefront. And also the honesty and transparency about the document. I thought that was key. And I just happened today, I happened to be in a meeting this morning, and it was nothing to do with this whatsoever, but I was chatting to one of the partners involved. And it came up in conversation, and they stressed to me how they welcomed the opportunity to put their views forward on this, how they welcomed that. And they stated that it was good that the council was listening to their views and taking them on board, which I have to say is what we've always said and what we'll always do. We will be that listening council. So I just wanted to say that today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Clark. And I know, colleagues, that we'll all be really pleased to hear that positive feedback from partner organisations. So thank you for that. Any further comments on this particular item? Okay. So we've been asked to approve the strategic intention of the master plan. I think it's important to be clear about this. It's not a commitment to financial investment. This is a commitment that asks our partners to align their decision making regarding services or developments within the Pill area with the aspirations and ambitions of the master plan, and that we all remain committed to utilising our resources in Pill in a way that best supports these ambitions, identified to tackle the challenges faced by the community. And colleagues, I have to say, having actively played a part in this process, and What's been a real pleasure about this has been the engagement with partners. It's so fantastic to have such well-engaged partners on board with us. And that commitment, what I'd really like to assure the residents of Pill is that commitment is there from all partners. We really have listened to what you've got to say, and we've got a shared commitment to trying to work with you to do something about this. And of course, I talk about our partners. It would be remiss of me not to acknowledge the support that Welsh Government has given us with this, including the funding to help assist with the development of the master plan. So, colleagues, the proposal is that Cabinet agree to adopt the master plan as the key strategic driver for decision-making and service delivery within the Pil-Grenthely ward. And we're being asked to task officers to continue to work with our partners to identify and access external funding to deliver the master plan. Is somebody happy to move that? Everyone in agreement? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for your contributions on that item. And to the residents of Pill, we look forward to working closely with you as we go forward in future. The next item on our agenda today is item number 6, our external pressures, cost of living report. This is on pages 33 to 36 of your packs. And you will recall, and I do have to reiterate this and reinforce this, but we asked as a Cabinet to have this as a standing item because we are so concerned at issues that our communities face. So it's our latest update on the main external pressures facing the Council, our businesses, our residents and communities. And the cost of living crisis continues, with a report from the Office of National Statistics recently stating that the average prices of 95% of 450 food items in the CPI basket have increased in price over the last year, some close to 50%. In addition, the interest rate remains higher than last year's average. And in the context of areas noted in the report, collaborative working with partners across the city remains a priority. And the multi-agency cost of living event in the riverfront on the 26th of April attracted approximately 180 residents who were able to access advice and guidance on managing finance, income maximisation and support with household expenses. And I know a number of colleagues attended that event, and it was a real pleasure actually to go and meet with residents, listen to what they had to say, and meet with all of those partners there who were there to provide advice and support to our residents. And I'd like to thank our partners for that, and sincere thanks to my colleague Cabinet Member for Community Wellbeing for once again organising that event for us. What I would say with regard to that is that I really do urge residents who are experiencing difficulties to contact the Council for information and signposting on the advice and support that there is available, whether this is in person, by phone, or by visiting our support and advice pages on the website. We really can help to direct you towards help and support. Please do not think that you are suffering on your own. Now, as members, we'll see in the report that a recent survey of the members of our Involved Citizens panel found that approximately 3/4 of the people who responded said they were very or a little worried or anxious about the cost of living crisis. 3/4 of the people. Our schools continue to support our most vulnerable children and young people and are planning ways of supporting families during the May half-term holiday and bank holidays. And they'll be facilitating the dissemination of 7 days' worth of food vouchers to those families entitled to free school meals. And it was a real privilege for me to visit St Julian's Primary, where they've got a big box void in place, which really helps to support those families at the school and the community. And what's really important about that, I think, is educating young people, not just around in terms of addressing issues around food waste, but also in terms of social responsibility as well. and developing, of course, numeracy skills whilst they're doing it. It's a fantastic initiative, and I'm delighted to see that some of our other primary schools in the Newport area will also be implementing those as well. So it was great to be at Maindy the other week to see theirs is nearly ready to go as well. So at every level, Newport City Council is supporting people to do, we're doing absolutely everything that we can to help people. If you are somebody that's experiencing any challenges, please come forward. We do have the help in place for you. So I'll pause at that point for any comments. Thank you. Councillor Harvey.
Thanks, Leader. The stark reality is 77% of our residents are still very worried, very concerned, and quite rightly. There is no money out there. But what I keep reiterating all the time is if you don't tell us you have an issue, we can't help you. The only way we can help you is by you telling us what you need, and then we'll find a way of doing it. I gotta thank you for acknowledging my portfolio, but I gotta say, without our staff sat there and over there, it wouldn't go ahead. They go above and beyond every single day for every single resident. There's 160-something thousand people in Newport, and we look after all of them. But if you don't come and tell us what the issue is, it doesn't matter whether you phone the 656 number, if you contact your councillor, just reach out. There's no embarrassment, there's no shame, because guess what? We're all 3 paychecks away from being homeless. We're all in the same boat. We're all feeling the pinch, but together we can do something. We can get together, we can sort it out, and make life a little bit less stressful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that important words there, Councillor Harvey. Deputy Leader?
Thank you, Leader. And thank you for mentioning St Julian's Primary School, which I'm immensely proud of. Governor there since 2002, Chair of Governor since 2007, I believe. So wholly involved in what's happening there, and really, really welcome the support they're giving to parents and families within the local communities. And we're seeing that across our city. We're seeing many, many schools taking on the mantle and the role of that community hub where they're supporting families, not just with food provision, but with clothing, libraries, support with housing advice and benefits advice. What I particularly welcome, however, is yet again Welsh Government has stepped forward, and there'll be food vouchers provided over the May Bank holiday, and that's really, really important. And it's really important that families are aware of that provision, and if they are entitled to free school meals, if they are on benefits, they need to check and need to apply. I know we have free school meal provision now for all foundation phase, which will ramp up and move into Key Stage 2 in September, but parents still need to apply to get that allocation of that voucher. And hopefully Welsh Government will listen to the needs of our residents in Wales, and we'll get the same provision for the summer holidays. So I'll certainly be lobbying the Education Minister every time I see him in the next few weeks. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much for that, Deputy Leader. Thank you indeed. Any further comments from colleagues? Councillor Forsey.
Thank you, Leader. I wanted to comment on the Ukraine refugees that we've got here in the city, and what a worthwhile thing it is to support these people experiencing such dreadful circumstances that we can't hardly imagine, I don't think. The payments to host families has now gone up to £500 a month, and therefore this is a considerable help to anybody who wishes to host a family. And if anybody does feel that they're in that position, that they could host a family, please would they get in contact with the council, because there are Ukrainian families that need homes in our city. Thank you.
Thank you very much for making that important point, Councillor Forsey, and indeed for your own personal warmth and generosity on that item. Thank you. Any further comments, colleagues? Okay, so are we happy to note the report? Excellent. This brings us to item number 7 on our agenda, which is our work programme on pages 37 to 44. So are colleagues content to move acceptance of the work programme? Thank you very much for that. And at that point, colleagues, I'd like to thank you all for your contributions today and your continued hard work for the benefit of the citizens of Newport. And with that, I'll draw the meeting to a close. Thank you.